Hey you tough guys, how's it going? And welcome to the Action Channel. So around here it's all about action movies, martial arts, and pretty much everything that deals with being a real man. Anyway, today I want to focus on some of the forgotten action stars of the 1980s and 90s. And I mean guys that really were awesome, either martial artists or just action guys altogether. And today I think we should focus on Keith Cooke. Alright, so it's no secret that there's been a lot of great martial arts action stars over the last several decades. And I think one of the best ones, without a doubt, has got to be Keith Cooke. Now, unfortunately, he never made it big time, unlike someone like Van Damme or Seagal in the 1990s. However, I think it was possible because he had everything that you could want from an action star. Obviously, he was a martial arts expert, but he also had good charisma on screen, and I think he had some decent acting skills as well. Anyway, in regards to the man's martial arts abilities, let me just give you a little taste of what's to come. Yeah, as you can see, the man is definitely a kicker. The man has so much precision with his legs, a true artist if you ask me. Now obviously nobody's born with all these skills, so where exactly did it all begin? Keith Cooke Hirabayashi was born on September 17th, 1959. He's from Seattle, Washington. His father was a Japanese American, and he had an American mother. So why did he get involved with martial arts and self-defense from a pretty early age? Well, like so many of the rest of us, he was actually bullied in school. And that sort of triggered him and realized, I gotta do something about it. In the very beginning, he started studying through books. But in 1973, the same year that Bruce Lee died, he actually discovered the films by the legend. And he was so inspired to learn Kung Fu. He then started studying Kung Fu, Tai Chi, and Taekwondo from Roger Tung in Seattle. And eventually he gained his black belt in Taekwondo. In 1974, he was inspired by a young man that was literally just a kid at the time. A young wushu performer that was part of the Beijing wushu team that was on tour in USA. The name of the young man was Jet Li. Throughout the 1970s and as a teenager, Keith continued his wushu training with Roger Tung. In 1980, he had the opportunity to go to China and train. On the same trip, he was joined by a young teenager whose name was Donnie Yen. Yeah, you might have heard of that guy. However, martial arts wasn't the only thing that he was interested in. At 20 years of age, he developed a passion for boxing. So I guess you could say he was pretty all-rounded in the fighting department. During this time when he was young and had the opportunity to travel a lot, he trained with many great masters. One of them was Bill Superfoot Wallace. Okay, now let's check out the man's competitive days. He competed in martial arts over a 15-year period from 1973 to 1988, including full contact taekwondo, the national karate circuit, and forms. Okay, so how good is the man? Well, if you believe in ranks, and not everybody does that, but I still think it says a thing or two. The man is a 5th degree black belt in karate and is a 5-time world martial arts grand champion. He was named Competitor of the Year in 1983, 85, and 86. He has also been named one of the top 100 most influential martial artists of the last century by Black Belt magazine and inducted into their Hall of Fame. So when we add it all up, I think we have to say, yeah, he's done pretty alright, wouldn't you say? In 1985, Keith was 25 years old. He moved to Los Angeles where he began to train with some of the greatest martial artists of its era, including karate experts Steve Fisher, Kevin Thomas, and Billy Blanks. Now, what nobody knew at the time was that just 5 years later, he would unite with Billy Blanks in the movie The King of the Kickboxers, in which they had an awesome fight. Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Like so many other people that moved to Los Angeles, Keith realized, you know what? This is the land of the movies, so maybe I should give this acting stuff a chance. So he started taking some acting classes while also teaching in martial arts. His first real acting job was in a Gatorade commercial. So when did the man get a break? Well, in 1988, he definitely made his acting debut in the action film Picasso Trigger, which was filmed in Hawaii. That was enough for the man to say, yeah, I like this acting stuff, let's do more of it. Soon after, he was offered a role in the Cynthia Rothrock movie China O'Brien. It seemed like everything was going so well, and he even secured a 3-picture deal. However, you know how it goes, life is never that easy and simple. So due to legal concerns, the contract unfortunately fell through.
Bummer!
However, that did not slow the man down. Instead, he booked a TV pilot called Noble Quest, but unfortunately it wasn't picked up. I should probably mention that most pilots are never picked up, so maybe it wasn't that big of a disappointment anyway. I got to know the man in 1990 when he appeared in the movie The King of the Kickboxers. I studied wushu myself at that time, and every time a new martial arts film came out on video, I had to check it out. And of course, The King of the Kickboxers was one of them. Keith Cooke definitely had the opportunity to show off some of his badass moves in the film. However, I wish we would have seen more of it because he was awesome. Lauren Avedon plays a New York cop that goes to Thailand, and in doing so he ends up being trained by this man named Prang, played by Keith Cooke. Now Billy Blanks plays the bad guy that in the beginning of the film kills Lauren Avedon's brother, and now 10 years later, it's time for some payback. And of course the final fight between Blanks and Avedon is totally over the top. I remember some martial artists at the time did not like the film because it was very similar to Van Damme's Kickboxer, except they took it to a whole nother level. I admit it was a strange storyline since it dealt with both snuff films as well as martial arts. But if you just look at it as a kickbox action film, yeah, why the hell not? And if you really appreciate some good martial arts scenes, there's plenty of them. Keith Cooke and Billy Blanks were absolutely amazing. Okay, Billy Blanks' acting occasionally was a little over the top, but he had to play a total a-hole, so why the hell not? Now for the movie The King of the Kickboxers, both Don the Dragon Wilson as well as Benny Urquidez were considered for the role. However, Keith Cooke ended up getting the job, and he did great. What's really interesting is that Lauren Avedon has said several times that he didn't understand why Keith Cooke and Billy Blanks did not play the main character, since they were both world champions. Now Lauren Avedon is a pretty good martial artist himself, but he knew that he still wasn't in their league. Now it could also just be that the script called for someone like Lauren Avedon, and that's why he got the part. Over the next few years, you can say that Keith Cooke worked his way up the ladder. The acting or action movie ladder, that is. Because he made his first starring role in the 1995 movie Heat Seeker, that also co-starred Gary Daniels. Later that same year, he also got a part in the movie Mortal Kombat. And 2 years later, he worked on the sequel Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Soon after, he was cast opposite Chris Farley in the action comedy Beverly Hills Ninja, in which he played a villain. However, Keith Cooke never forgot his roots, and in 1994 he opened his own martial arts school in Brentwood, California. He remained the owner and head instructor of the school for 27 years until finally having to close the doors at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2021. Now the man is obviously very respected in the world of martial arts, but he has also trained many actors for film and television roles, which includes Zoe Saldana from Avatar, Shannon Lee, obviously Bruce Lee's daughter, Michael Biehn, you know him from Terminator, just to mention a few. Even though the man is in his early 60s today, he is still in absolutely amazing shape that will make most 30-year-olds jealous and envious. And recently, in 2023, Keith Cooke launched the Ring Workout, which is a training program built around a product that he designed himself. So, obviously, the man is keeping busy, and who knows what his next venture will be. Now, it seems that everybody have their own opinions in regards to martial arts, and what style is the best, and why. However, here's how Keith Cooke feels about it. I don't think it matters what style you do. It's about discipline, focus, and dedication. The main thing is to show up and try hard. And that's not just physical effort. It's focusing your mind and then being willing to practice and do things over and over again to acquire skill. You have to be willing to practice on your own, so that can get your creativity going as an individual. Alright fellas, thanks. I appreciate you guys making it all the way to the end of the video. So if you want to see some more action stuff, please like and subscribe to the channel, share the video and all that good stuff. I'll see you next week for some more action-packed videos.